I like this wallpaper. It's very nice. It actually, to me, it really exemplifies what WebRTC is about. And sorry you can't see the whole thing, but basically, it's Einstein who says everything should be made simple as possible, but not simpler. And WebRTC is that, as long as it stays the way it is. And that's what's important to me in regards to why I like the technology so much, why we think it's such an innovative technology, is because it's simple and it just works. So I'm just going to go into my presentation here. So what we're going to talk about today, and I just want to cover, there's going to be 3 simple points. One is, why is WebRTC important to enterprise organizations today? The second is, what are the obstacles and barriers that are necessary that we overcome in order to be able to achieve integration of WebRTC into the enterprise and adoption by their community and their end users. And the third is, what are the opportunities for us as technologists and innovators to address those solutions? As an example, I love BMWs. I happen to be a big BMW fan. I'm a loyal advocate of the brand. But why does BMW need WebRTC, and why should we care about it? And the reason why is because BMW relies on its brand experience to the end consumer. It's critical for its success as a company. So they will do anything in order to improve customer intimacy. And because of that, they're looking for ways that they can actually reach out to more customers and to improve their brand experience. So this is what my car looks like to me. Right? It's not really my car, but this is, to me, the brand experience that I get from owning a BMW. And the reason why is because they give me that experience of luxury, of sportiness, of being able to be into something that's more futuristic. This is what my car really looks like. So I'm just a normal 328 owner, but this is what the cars look like to other people. So this is an example of how much that brand experience exudes to other people. So in other words, BMW's brand recognition and the brand experience extends to people who perhaps can't afford a BMW or don't have a BMW, but they want it so bad, they're willing to make up a BMW for themselves. So this is the concept that BMW is actually entertaining when they actually address their consumers. And the concept is called future retail. And they've actually just launched this last May. And there is a dynamic that's going on, and this is actually something that's really being led by, or was invented by Apple, so to speak, or they were credited for it, which is basically the Digital Concierge. And what the Digital Concierge is it's a brand experience that allows you to do what they call non-line shopping. What they've recognized is the fact that by giving people a brand experience in a retail setting location, they can go look at products, they can experience products, they can experience that brand, and then they will use their digital devices or their web browsers to then go do their purchase. So they call that the mobile influencer to a sale. And they're saying that by giving people that brand experience, that digital showroom, that digital concierge, that they're able to capture more market share than they could in any other traditional retail environment or any other e-commerce environment. And companies today are flocking to this. So what does that mean to BMW? It means improving the consumer-to-business social environment, being out there on the social networking sites, being able to create a higher degree of customer intimacy through communications on platforms like Google+ or Facebook or LinkedIn. It also means creating that virtual showroom experience. People's time is valuable, and they rely on the web and they will rely on their connected devices in order to basically do a lot of their shopping and look for the products they're looking for. So that virtual showroom experience is also very important. They've also looked at the dashboard as a tablet now, right? So everybody sees the modern, they call it the BMW connected car or connected drive. And they release applications to those devices, and they can do over their updates down to your actual device that's sitting in your dashboard. So I can actually have that infotainment and consumerized experience. So that integrated infotainment environment allows me to take the media and the applications and the services that I'm subscribing to out on the internet, Hulu, YouTube, Netflix, and have that integrated experience. So when I get into my BMW, my kid can get in the back seat of the car, and he can connect to my connected drive, and he can watch BMW TV, which is hooked up to his Hulu. And then he can have that actual experience. So what does that do? That means that my son can now actually take that outside of the car and create an out-of-the-car experience. But it's more than just from an infotainment or entertainment perspective. It's also from a standpoint of being able to provide basic level services. So self-service support, information, and then immediate assistance. And if you think about it, these are applications. This is not your car. This is your phone. This is your smart device. This is your tablet. You're downloading an application that gives you that BMW brand experience even when you're not there. One of my favorite applications is my BMW Where Did I Park My Car app. So when I park my car at the airport, I hit a button on my phone, and I go off, and I take my flight, I go on my business trip, and when I get back, I hit a button, and it tells me where my car is. Not only does it do that, it also estimates the amount of time it takes for me to walk back to my car. And if I was at a meter, I can actually plug in the time that I actually put my coins in and how long I have before my meter expires. And it will warn me in advance so I have enough time to walk back to my car to feed the meter. This is an out-of-car experience. This extends BMW's brand no matter where I go. But it's not just BMW. It's automotive, it's full retail, it's banking, it's insurance, it's healthcare, and many more industries. Everybody is flocking to this. JCPenney, the person who invented the Apple Genius Store experience, is actually now working at JCPenney, and he's trying to revamp the retail experience for JCPenney in the same way. BMW has adopted this. Many other companies are adopting this Digital Concierge style service. However, one of the things we know is that, actually, good point here, which is, talks about the opportunity, right? So the mobile influenced online store sales today is 158 billion. E-commerce sales in total is 226 billion. Combined, you can see that it's a huge marketplace. So these retailers, these companies that are extending out to the consumers, are spending tons of money to get access to these consumers because these are people who are making decisions based against their mobile device as they go. And now we're going to talk about what this means about WebRTC, though. So yeah, we have enabling organizations like the standards bodies, IETF, W3C, and then the browser vendors. And they're creating a peer-to-peer user experience. And it's very simple to use. I mean, 5 lines of code, and you can have a soft phone on your browser. No downloads, no plugins, very easy to use. However, for enterprises to be able to leverage this in dealing with the consumers who will be consuming WebRTC, there are obstacles. And it's not obstacles due to the vendors themselves, and I want to say that because there's going to be a lot of vendors on here, but it has to do with the fact that there's been decades of technology that has been invested in by enterprises today in these vendors that aren't going anywhere. So the obstacles to adoption come from the standpoint of all the technology that exists out there today between plugins and carrier infrastructure that's been there for 20, 30 years. For enterprise infrastructure, where you talk about companies like large financial services institutions that spend $30 million a year on hardware and software infrastructure that is just enhancements to their existing infrastructure. And it's all SIP, and it took 20 years to get to SIP. And before that, there were decades of pre-SIP, and then those things needed to be integrated together. But it's there, and it's working, and it's available today. Contact center technology, CTI, skills-based matching, customer service, support. Those are all the things that are there in the organization today waiting to be leveraged. So what are the obstacles to enterprise adoption? First thing is, enterprises are not going to replace what they have anytime soon. All right, so if everybody here just understands that that is the first thing that you need to accept, is it's not going anywhere. WebRTC is revolutionary, but it's not going to replace all this infrastructure. It can't. Enterprises could not afford to do it even if they wanted to. Maybe in 20, 30 years, it'll get there. But in the meantime, we have to accept, we have to work with it. The second thing is, these enterprises already have applications that their users are used to using. So we can go in there and say, hey, here's a new revolutionary contact center application that uses WebRTC and allows you to connect with your customers on Facebook. And they sit there going, but wait a minute, I've got 60,000 contact center reps spread out across the globe, and they're currently using all of this technology. I'd have to replace all my IVRs, I'd have to replace all my scripts, I'd have to do training of all these users. Not going to happen. Third thing is, they're not going to risk security, compliance, or regulatory sanctions. The complexity of doing business when you're a large enterprise is the fact that you have all of these things that are imposed upon you. I've got to answer to the SEC when it comes to banking transactions. I've got to be able to do call recording so that I can have actual transparency to my transactions. I've got regulatory sanctions. I can't sell this to that person in this country, or I can't share this medical information about this patient with that doctor without this permission. Those things are all built into the business processes that these companies have to support. Now, WebRTC, if you think about it, is dead simple. It does one thing, and it does it very, very well. So how are we going to blend these things together? We're going to create a bridge. And that bridge takes the form of interop, integration, and enforcement. Interop from the standpoint, we have to talk to the things that exist today. Integration from the standpoint, we have to enable the applications that already exist. We can't insist on replacing an application. Yeah, I know you're using that one, but if you want WebRTC, you have to go this way. And the third thing is we have to allow for enforcement, policies, regulations, and then even that, combining them together. For instance, I've got a stockbroker who's talking to Martha Stewart about the next big pop that's going to happen for an IPO. But I'm giving her inside information. That call needs to be recorded so that I can prove that I didn't give her inside information, right? So the Martha Stewart effect. So we need to have a policy management mechanism. We need to have a robust SDK that extends beyond WebRTC to include all the other things like DTMF tone recognition, IVR support, integration to a contact mechanism, all these other things which are enterprise-needed functions. So we built that. So Thrupoint built what we call Thrupoint Fusion Web. And what it is it acts as that gateway, okay? It is the policy engine. We can do session-based policy enforcement. We can do application integration, sequencing, and routing. We can do WebRTC to SIP as a gateway. We can do RTP proxying so that you can do efficient routing of the RTP. We can do transcoding of VP8 to H.264 and other codecs. It is an on-ramp. So we did this because we understand that the enterprise infrastructure is not going to change, but they want to get access to WebRTC. And there's a statistic that actually I shared about a month ago. I'll share it with you today, which is of our customers, because we do a lot of business with the Wall Street firms, so of our customers, we talk to all of them, and we ask them questions like, are you doing anything about WebRTC today? And 5 out of the top 10 banks have active engagements where they're working on ways to integrate WebRTC into their network infrastructure. That's amazing. Considering where WebRTC is today, and the readiness and the browser field, I mean, look at it from the standpoint. I mean, Google just released it. And we've been working on this product for the last 18 months. Big bet. We took the bet. We were happy that we took the bet because it panned out. But we have the first commercially available enterprise WebRTC gateway on the marketplace. So then our SDK allows you to integrate into applications, allows you to do all the things that I was talking about earlier. And if you come over to our booth later on, you'll be able to see all the different various demos, but we've integrated to applications like WebEx, WebEx Social, Jive, Jabber, LivePerson, Facebook, LinkedIn. And literally, I mean, I've got, you should talk to Kevin Glass, he's my chief technologist within my group. Asked him about, geez, you know, we got a customer who wants to have us like integrate into WebEx Social. How long do you think it'll take? He says, well, let me take a look and I'll get back to you. 10 minutes later, he got back to me saying, okay, it's ready. And we video chat enabled with integration to the contact list, with integration to whitelist, blacklist operations, with the security, with the policy, all that just dropped in 10 minutes. Working. So here's a healthcare example, right? So what it comes down to is a mashup. I mean, that's what WebRTC is. WebRTC is not the application, it's not an application. WebRTC is innovative, but it is not the creative aspect of the technology. The creative aspect of the technology is going to come from everybody here. All you developers coming out with new applications, finding new ways to use it, but it is just a component to a solution. Because if you think about it, video is just video until you add context to the conversation. So if you start building applications that allow you to have new ideas, new technologies, new ways of using it, new ways to reach out to customers where the enterprise wants to be, there is a big market there. It's huge. I mean, Joe Burton said that the enterprise spend for telecommunications on an annual basis is $2.1 trillion. He's right, it is. This is how you get your share of it. I mean, you can do a venture play and try and do some sort of social-to-social thing, and then you can try and ramp yourself up to 1 million subscribers and then get a big pop or a venture valuation. But if you want to try and create economic value for your products today, you need to figure out a way to introduce your technology and concepts into the enterprise in a quick and seamless and efficient fashion. So, just with that, I'd like to show you. So our bridge and our gateway, just so you know, to the enterprise, what we have here is our friends from Cisco, which we partner with very tightly, have loaned us an EX90 telepresence unit. We have a transcoder, a gateway, and a proxy running, which is our Fusion Web Service. So this is an EX90 telepresence device from Cisco, and I'm going to have to show it to you this way for now. This is a WebRTC browser application running through our gateway and server. And as you can see, it's doing the transcoding. We do intelligent routing. We can actually get this call to anywhere in your environment, whether it be a contact center, a SIP endpoint, or, hold on. So, thank you. I've got one other thing I'd like to show, which is so we are offering a beta program for our WebRTC SDK and our infrastructure. You can sign up as a developer and get access to a sandbox where you can develop your own applications and build them. We're going to be launching it in Q1. If you go to the site now, it's going to be by invitation only. There's going to be a limited number of slots, so sign up early, and then you'll get your invitation sometime early in Q1, and then you'll be able to have access to the sandbox and start writing your own applications with our SDK, and you'll be able to route those applications off to your own enterprise infrastructure. So, thank you very much.